Hi guys, this is an update on my goldfish tank. This is where we started the journey in August of 2024. They were in a little 40-liter holding tank. And as you can see, I've got the plants in the little pots that they come in. I removed the sponge, but I filled it with substrate, but I was just worried that they would uproot the plants. Everything I'd read on the internet suggested that they were quite destructive. This wasn't really the case with my goldfish anyway. They left the plants alone. They didn't really try to eat it or uproot it, so I'm very happy about that. And then I moved them to a larger tank, obviously. It's a 120-liter tank. And a month after moving them, that little guy was found on the floor in the morning when I woke up. As you can see, quite a way away from the tank. And it was very sad for me because he was changing color from sort of like a white to a red, and I was keen to see if it would go full red. But having said that, that fantail that popped out the tank was constantly harassed by the rest of the goldfish. So I don't know if that was the only female and these four were male, but they used to harass that goldfish even in the small tank. I can only assume they got into some sort of battle at night and he popped out of the, or she popped out of the tank. As you can see, the Rotala hri is growing really, really nicely. This tank took a while for it to settle in terms of a balance for the beneficial bacteria to help, for it to colonize properly. It really went through an ugly phase, I'm not going to lie to you, where the plants look, and you might see it still like on the Anubias and the Java fern. This is my little hillstream loach, busy grazing. So the rocks I placed specifically for my loach. There's two of them in this tank, and they obviously like grazing on rocks. So when they're not hiding or sleeping, they are usually on the back glass or on this set of rocks. Yeah, so the balance for this tank took a few months to get to a stage that I was happy with, and it's finally getting there because now with all the new plant growth, it looks like it's clean, if that makes sense. So I know that the beneficial bacteria is colonized enough to counter the effects of the bioload from the fish, which obviously they are quite big fish, so their bioload's quite a lot compared to a community tank with just tetras even. And this is the other guy on the intake pipe. So I don't know if he just likes the feeling of the water running through. But yeah, they're quite interesting characters to watch around the tank. Especially they just like glide through the water. So it's really awesome to see when they do that. And I've got some ram's horn snails in this tank as well. They are like supersized in this tank. I don't know if it's the combination of the amount of food that's available in this tank. Not that the tank's overfed, but obviously, there's a lot of glass to graze on. And like I said, it went through quite an ugly phase. As well as it being a cold water tank. I think the ram's horns prefer cold water. And hence they just kind of grew really massively. These are the rainbow shiners that I would like to add to the goldfish tank, and as you can see, the top is covered in duckweed and some Amazon frogbit. I use the duckweed in the goldfish tank. I feed them duckweed probably once a week. The goldfish love it, so I use that tank specifically as a harvesting tank for duckweed. And yeah, so I'm thinking of adding the rainbow shiners to this tank. I was in two minds about it because I wasn't sure if I wanted to add to the bio load that's already in this tank. But at the end of the day, I decided, let me try it out. Let me see if I like the way it works. If it's is it going to be more work. I do water changes on this tank. It's 120 liters. And I do a 50% water change once every 2 weeks. As with all my other tanks, I also take out a couple of liters every other day from each tank to water my various veggie garden projects, because the fish water is obviously better than tap water from a hose. So in addition to the massive water change that I do on this tank once every 2 weeks, I usually take out about 10 liters of water from here, maybe once a week. I just use a different tank each week to water my plants or my vegetables. But yeah, so I've decided to add the rainbow shiners to this tank. And I'm hoping they don't pop out of the tank. This was another concern for me because they are one of these fish that, when they're in a stream, it's nice to watch them, in inverted commas, jump. But when they're jumping out the tank, not so fun. But yeah, I'd expected them to, immediately swim towards the plants and hide in between them. And while they did sort of gravitate towards the plants, they didn't quite hide there. You can see the goldfish are looking at them to say, well, what is this and why are you here? But the shiners seem to have settled in quite nicely, and sadly the water's got flecks now because I poured water from the other tank in here. But that should clear up by the morning. But yeah, the shiners actually settled in so much better than I anticipated. I really genuinely thought they would be a lot more scared because the goldfish are so huge. But the goldfish, the poor guys, they seemed to be the ones that were scared, and they were huddling off in one corner, not quite sure about these new additions to their tank. And I have to say that the rainbow shiners, because the holding tank was so small, they didn't have room to, really to move, but also to show their personalities and their vibrant colors. And you can't really see it on screen, but they've got some like blue flecks on them. And I think maybe it's also the Chihiro's light that I'm using. But they look stunning. I mean, they're just beautiful. And having them swimming in the tank now, and watching them over the last few days, it's been really, really awesome. They've just brought in another dimension to this tank. But yeah, the goldfish were not really sure if they were happy, and I decided to bribe them with some food, although it was feeding time for them. So I just held off until I'd added the shiners, because I knew I was going to have to try and settle them, or their nervousness with food, and it worked. As you can see, they're busy eating. I also crumbled some flakes for the shiners, and I'm not sure if you can see the fish food flakes, but the shiners started eating also almost immediately. I mean, they've been in the tank now not even 10 minutes, to be honest, and they really so comfortable. They just settled in beautifully in the tank, and they look obviously happy because they've got the swim room. So this poor fish. I'd initially bought them to put in another tank, and I've decided to use that tank for something else. So I thought, let me just keep the cold water fish together and see how it works out. Like I said, my biggest concern was them jumping out the tank. But hopefully, with it being as big as it is, that should not be a concern. But yeah, I'm really happy. It's taken about 5 months for me to get the tank to this stage. I'm running 2 filters on it. I've got an internal filter, you might be able to see it, as well as the Owaze Biomaster. So, the internal one, not really so much for filtration. It's more for flow, because the loaches like fast moving water. Obviously the movement adds aeration, so the fish need oxygen, and they big fish. So that was the reason I ran that internal filter in addition to the Owaze Biomaster. And now that I've got the rainbow shiners in there, I don't regret that decision. It might be overkill, but I'm happy with the way it's set up. It doesn't look as pretty as it could, but I'm hoping as the plants grow in, it'll cover that section. You will see some plant holders at the top of the tank as well. It doesn't look great. It's there Obviously, it helps with the water quality, but I'm just propagating stuff. And eventually, I'm hoping I can hide these quite nicely as I get plants that will grow out the tank. So yeah, aesthetically, I'm working on a few things. It's not quite where I want it to be, but in terms of the water quality, the balance, maintenance, aside from the once every 2 week water changes, it's settled in really, really, really nicely. I cannot tell you how happy I am with the way that this tank has turned out. It did take time. I mean, it did take 5 months. But this is my favorite tank. Goldfish, they really hard work because they're such big fish. These aren't the fancy goldfish. They fantails and comets, but they are my favorite from all the fish that I've got. They have just the best personalities. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. That's my lucky bamboo. You'll see the roots growing into the water, reaching for the substrate. I'm gonna let it do its thing, and hopefully it will give me a little bit more, what's the word, better quality as it gets access to the substrate. But yeah, I'm hoping that the top of the tank will give me sort of a river style look from the top, so that plants are growing and covering the top sections. I want to try also and get one of the lily pads, the floating lily pads on the top. Obviously, it will help with water quality, but I also think it might look really pretty having those lilies at the top of the tank. So that's something that's in the pipeline for the future. But this is obviously the next day, and well, not obviously, but it's the next day. And as you can see, the fish are intermingling really, really well. Both the goldfish and the rainbow shiners are now comfortable with each other. And yeah, it looks like they are happy in their tank. Also wanted to show you that the Hillstream loach was not harmed because I know some people might say that they were. One is on the back glass, and not sure if you can see him. Hopefully I can show you. But yeah, I got a bit distracted with the Hillstream loaches, with the rainbow shiners and the goldfish looking so beautiful. But yeah, there's a little guy. So he's perfectly fine. The other one is on the rock. I'm not sure if you can see the, yep, there he is. So the two of them are absolutely fine. They didn't get sucked into the inlet pipe. They just like sitting there for some reason. Maybe it's just the flow of the water, like I said. And this little guy was a hitchhiker when I first set up the tank 5 months ago. He's alone, and he survived. I thought for sure the goldfish would eat him. But my goldfish aren't really very predatory in nature. And so this guy survived 5 months in this tank. And I think it's about time I got him some friends. Really, really awesome watching him just move about the tank, really. It's been a lot of fun. So yeah, I think just watching the different life forms in this tank is, every day it's something new, every day it's something entertaining, and you can see the shrimp, no fear for the goldfish. After 5 months, he knows he's in no harm. So yeah, it's just really, really awesome to see this tank evolve over time and watch the inhabitants and how they interact with each other. So I was very, very happy with that. I'd love to hear from you guys regarding tank mates for your goldfish. What do you have in your tanks? Whether it's rainbow shiners, Hillstream loaches, shrimp, or something else. Love to hear from you. My next build, just a preview, is going to be for dwarf crayfish. They're really fun, as you can see, especially at feeding time. The filter pushed that away. But yeah, they're really, really fun to feed. They've got also quite cute personalities. And if you've enjoyed this video and you'd like to see the build for my little dwarf crayfish, I would love for you guys to hit the subscribe button. And if you've enjoyed this video, obviously the like button. Your support would really help my channel. It is a new channel, so I'm hoping that the content is entertaining enough for you guys. Love to hear your feedback. I'm also learning my way around the camera and the glare from the lights in the tank. But once again, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next build.